Today we're going to look at Smart Animate in Figma, and we're going to do a little bit of mobile game design using Smart Animate. So the task today is going to design a little mini RPG. More on that later. So what Smart Animate is, it's a method of bringing movements to our interactive designs. Works by detecting changes between two frames. So almost like two animation keyframes or key states that it can move between. This could be something simple, like a button rising slightly when we're over it, or changing color. So like on the web, things that we hover over them, they change color. Or if we click on things, they light up. We can also make menus roll out from different locations, or grow larger, rotate, change color. So if we have expandable areas in our design, we can animate them to expand and animate them to contract. Simply by changing the statistics, the properties between two frames. It's always a two-state process of Smart Animate. And yes, a very important rule, we can only animate elements that are present in both frames. So if you have a button that you want to change position between two frames, make sure the button is present in both frames and has the same name. Otherwise it won't be able to read them. So the smart part is where it's figuring out by the name which element is staying consistent between two pages. In this example, I create a button. It's just a frame with a group as a button. And then I duplicate the frame, so I've got two states. Two different frames means two different states of animation. I'll make a slight change in state 2 from state 1. When I add prototype behavior to that button, whether I'm navigating to another state or opening an overlay or anything, I just want to make sure I'm selecting Smart Animate in the prototype settings. So in this one, it's saying while the mouse is hovering over it, navigate to the smart state. You can see just drawing the connection makes that happen. So that's hover on, the button will raise. Then our second state, where our button has raised, we want to transition back when the mouse is no longer on top of it. So for that, I use mouse leave. I use second layers and things like that. So once the mouse leaves the bounding box area of this button, the mouse is in here, it leaves it. Once it leaves, we transition back to our original state as we just drawn the connection. Connect back. So some very basic Smart Animate. Let's get in and test it in Figma. So open up Figma. I'll make a new page. I'm just looking for a frame. Let's create a simple button. Oh, any frame is fine. Any standard Android or iPhone. Android compact. I'm creating a standard button. I'm sure we've done this almost every week. Let's just grab one of our standard buttons from the board. I duplicate it so I have two frames with the same object in them. Oh, typography.
Yeah, which one do you like?
I mean, there's so many.
Like, just give me
What's
like
it
one
good?
idea, yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm terrible at it. I know I am.
I mean, what are we talking about?
What?
For a hero, for like just a standard button font?
Yeah, like for a button, yeah.
How about meter?
Okay, yeah.
Friendly, rounded edges.
Oh. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's nice. Keep that at 10.
Okay, so let's make a simple hopper. We can do a hopper, or maybe just a click on and click up. So what I'm going to do is get into prototype mode next. And I just want to transition from one to the next. Yeah, we'll just do a click on and off. I won't do a hover. So I'm going to drag the connector from button. Let's connect up to my second screen. State 1 to state 2. I'm going to have to change it to Smart Animate. So on that, navigate to. And the only thing I changed was change to Smart Animate.
Just drag. My one is just drag. I can't put a click.
Have you already added an on click? Yeah, you've already added an on click.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You could remove that drag and then just modify the quick one.
What you mean? Like,
See this minus right next to this?
Yeah.
Minus.
this one?
And then select that and you can change, that's your on click. Just navigate to destination.
I can use that, right? Can I play with the
What do you mean?
You can make things that you like it easy out to make it
Yeah.
slow or faster.
Yeah, so yeah, in a straight line is like it moves
Yeah,
constant speed. You know what you mean already?
Yeah, because I used to do it right, so I used to do that with keyboards.
Oh, custom curves. All right, so I'm just going to link the other button to go back, as in the state 2 button will link back to the first. And again, it's going to remember I used Smart Animate last time, so it's created Smart Animate by default. I'm going to test this right now.
That's it.
What's going to happen? What will happen when I test it? When I click this button, what will happen?
You're gonna go to the next one.
You change for the screen.
It will change the other screen. But it doesn't show any change because both of our states look identical. We're not registering any animation because we haven't made any changes in state 2.
Good man.
So, even if I just change the background color, so any change I make to the frame, I want it to be a black frame. Test it again. Now the button's going to Smart Animate.
Here, how do you open just like, just on this side like that?
This little play button in here gives a little pop-out flare.
Oh, that's nice.
The reason it was changing between the two states, it just didn't look like it because we hadn't registered anything visual to show the state change. any changes we make in state 2 will be represented in the prototype. If I change the position or scale or rotation of this button, because they both have the exact same name, exact same components, it's going to remember where they are. So I'm going to bring this button down to the bottom of the screen. And test again. Now the button's going to jump up, jump down, reposition itself on screen. This is how we can create more reactive layouts. Layouts are going to change shape as they go from stage to stage. Right. If we add a new element into our state 2, if I draw a new shape, let's say a star. You can see it's here in my state 2, but not in state 1. Unity, Figma will treat it, I'm teaching game design all week. Figma will treat it like it never existed in the first state, but it won't break the prototype, it'll just fade it away. So if it doesn't exist in the first state, but it does in the second, it'll just dissolve in by default. However, if I copy that star, Control C, Control V, to state 1, now it does exist. We're going to scale it down. Let here. I need to rotate it a couple of times. So now star 1 exists in Android Compact 1, it exists in Android Compact 2. Maybe I'll change some designs as well, but still a little bit nicer. Go. So now the star will rotate and reposition itself. Start to go up, start to go down. It's just the same thing again and again. It's the same as the button, same as anything else. Yeah, it's just where they start from and where they end. So all those stars are down there in the second frame. They're up here. They have to move between those positions.
But do those things have the
We have it set to smart animate yet.
Yeah, but for the people like
Yeah, it's just gonna push. It's gonna ignore all of that.
Yeah.
Push. Oh, they're probably. Oh, actually, Luan, you have pointed out something interesting. Got that, yeah.
I know I've worked in my. See, like,
So, if we change to something that isn't Smart Animate for this first transition, right here, this button is transitioning, and I changed it to push. So it's no longer Smart Animating, as you can see. I'll change the push going both ways. So instead of Smart Animate, I'm changing to push. So the screen pushes the other screen that way. Push. So we test this, and it's just pushing. There's no Smart Animate going on, even though there are stars in the bottom here and stars in the top there. However, there is still a Smart Animate component with all of the other transition types. So if we so choose, and if we have stuff that's consistent between the frames that we don't want to push, say your navigation on the bottom, you don't want that to slide over every time, turn on Animate matching layers. So that's Smart Animate essentially. It'll still perform the push, but anything that's consistent, like the buttons or navigation, will stay in the same place. So now it's animating matching layers, and I'll do it for the way back as well.
my one doesn't show that. Oh, for the push one. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now if I test this, it pushes, but the stars move. Actually, it's basically like Smart Animate now. It's still not pushing. If I turn off Smart Animate from running the layers on the way back, maybe. And now it's actually pushing one, but it's transition one. You can combine the two.
I like combine push.
Cool. Yes. So we have an animation that's just going to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that.
Let's take a look at that right now.
You see how?
No, we can set up a looping animation. It's just a little bit of timing stuff. That's probably a good idea. So I'm just going to duplicate this frame to make a running animation. So we're going to click this button. And once we get into state 2, it's going to start moving. We'll move these stars. We'll make them move about a bit.
Okay.
So I'm going to duplicate this frame. And it's still a two-state system. Like the two-party system in America, you know what I'm saying? Haha, topical. It's still a two-state animation system. We're just moving on. Our new state 1 is this. We're going to animate between these objects and this secondary object. But instead of having it be a button press, I wanted to automatically loop between ping pong back and forth between the two states, create the illusion of animation. So first, let's make the changes. The stars can't be the exact same place. I'm going to say they move out a bit. This one moves down here. Rotates a little bit. This one moves up here. Rotates a little bit. And this one moves up here. Rotates a little bit. And we'll do color change as well. Definitely be sure that there's a change going on. Nice warm red. Now, we're all up to speed. The next thing I'm going to do is add the interaction, but we want it to be an interaction where we don't interact, we don't touch or anything like that. So it's going to be a whole screen interaction. I'm going to jump into prototype mode. And instead of selecting any object on the screen, I'm going to use the screen itself. So just draw a noodle from the actual frame and connect to our new state 2. I am going to change to Smart Animate. I want it to navigate to, actually. I want it to transition between from state 1 to state 2. I want it to Smart Animate. What I don't want is for the user to have to tap. So right now our trigger is on tap, it's going to transition. I am going to say mouse enter. So when the mouse enters the frame, that's when we start this transition. I'm going to add a delay. Actually, do we need to do mouse enter? No, I'll just do after delay. Yeah, forget about that. After delay. Yeah. Now, after a delay, and if you want it to happen straight away, you can say like 10 milliseconds. I'll leave it at 8 milliseconds for testing. I'm going to Smart Animate between those. And then to get this to loop, we need to do the same interaction going back the other way. So this is going from state 1 to state 2. And we'll do the same thing to go back. And for your falling stars, you could have state 1 to state 2, and then state 2 to state 3, but just keep transitioning. We'll do more states, a lot more states. Okay, so going back, another full screen transition. I will say instead of on tap, after delay, and Smart Animate. Now nothing's moving. I press this button. After a delay, it's going to start switching between those. Let's say you wanted to put a little loading screen in there. You want to just demonstrate to whoever you're pitching this idea, this is what a loading screen would look like. And then this button will still take us back. If they both have the same functionality. And you notice it's waiting for 80% of a second and then moving, 80% of a second, then moving. We could have it continuous if we like make the transition longer and the delay time shorter. So I say the delay is 10 milliseconds, very small amount of time. The duration is 1,000 milliseconds, a whole second. It's much smoother for that first movement. So that's with a very low delay. I'll show the setting again. Remember, everything's being recorded, it's all on stream. That's with a very small delay and a much longer duration. So the duration is the amount of time the animation takes to complete. Try again, on the other way. 10 milliseconds. Balance. Some kind of ping pong between. The absolute lowest you can do is 1 millisecond. No gap.
Oh my god.
Now, animation question. Why is it speeding up and slowing down?
Because you changed the speed just to go and not to come back.
Yeah. But it's speeding up and slowing down. You are doing it, you know.
Yeah, the curves, right?
Curves, easing. So right now we're easing out. So it's slowing down at the end of its animation. If I wanted to be a constant speed, I could set that to linear interpolation, linear easing. It won't speed up. I might be able to do it while it's still running. Right now our curve is set to ease out. So at the end of the animation we slow down, like easing into a bath, easing out. Slow down as we get to it. Well, that's constant, linear. I'll do the same the other way. Linear. Constant speed, but quite robotic. It's not, you know, a nice movement anymore, but that's constant speed. And if you really know you're easing, we can create it so it starts slow, speeds up in the first. So on the way from state 1 to state 2, we could say ease in. Enter. As in it starts slow and then speeds up. And on the way back, we could say ease out. And now you see it's like a pendulum. It swings and then it comes back.
Where are you changing?
So, on the way over, state 1 to state 2, ease in. On the way back, ease out. So start slow, speed up, start fast, slow down. You made a very happy bouncing start. Yeah, in CSS, yeah. CSS animation, so yeah, there'd be a lot of transition. You set keyframes in CSS as well. Yeah. So it's the same as this, it records states.
Yeah, like I know how to do like the button, you know, like when you pass the mouse into the like element.
Yeah.
Well,
in CSS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I know how to do like do this part like moving like that. I don't know. Perhaps maybe the same.
You just write it in code. You say at keyframes, open close curly brackets in CSS, and then you say 0%, which is the start of your animation, 100%, the end of your animation. And you'd set things like the color at the start, color at the end. And you could pick other percentages in between and say, oh, at 50% I want it to be blue starting. At 100% I want it to be yellow, and it will transition the color. There's a bit more to it, but it's basically that.
Nice stuff.
Nice stuff. Okay, one last little smart animate trick, the slider. Yes, a slider, as in something you drag and it creates a slider. I'm going to create a quick slider in state 2 here. I'll do a horizontal slider, and all I need for a slider is a couple of rectangles. So first, a rectangle to hold as a track. I'll give it a name. Roll track. And the next is a rectangle to act as a handle. Now called scroll handle. The two objects, a track and a handle. Give a little bit of style to my handle. I'll round it by adding rounded corners. Say 24. I'll add maybe 12 and round this. So a bit of border radius just around those corners. Okay, two objects. Scroll handle, scroll track. We can stay here with that. I suppose I better center this, make sure I'm not centered. And I'm just going to position the handle on top here, on the end. So it's just two rectangles, scroll handle, scroll track. I'm going to duplicate compact 3 here with the handles in for one time. And we have another two-stage system. Luan is going to lead the class. What's the next step, Luan?
Oh,
Nice and loud.
I think he's going to put the circle and scroll into the other side.
10 points.
Yeah,
Gryffindor.
yeah.
Yes. So, in state 2, we do want this slider to be the other end of the handle.
Absolutely.
And I'll make a few other changes so we know change has occurred. I'm going to move my stars around and rotate them. Change the color. Yeah, I should give them 3 individual colors this time. I'll make some mild changes. Okay, what's the next step?
Blue one.
What?
I don't know. I'm doing my one over here.
Alright. So, our handle in our scroll bar is in the next state.
Oh, just
So it's
make
at the
it
start here and it's in the end. So instead of using Smart Animate on the whole screen, we're going to use Smart Animate to control this slider. So in prototype mode, jump over to prototype mode. We're going to connect the slider, the handle I should say, to our next page. And right now it's saying on tap, navigate to, Smart Animate. And that would work just fine. But because it's a slider, we want a different trigger. We don't tap the slider, we drag sliders, we drag them over. So instead of on tap, I'm going to use on drag. Clickety click, click, click. So we're putting this on the handle itself, not on the track, anything else. On drag, navigate to Smart Animate. And we'll do the same in the second stage on the back. Oh yeah, the duration is very, very slow. Might be a little bit too long. 6 Then on the way back, grab the handle, draw your connection, on drag, Smart Animate. I think that's just remembering the last one I used. So ease out, I think is a standard one. Yes, the most common. Yeah, I test this now. Oh, and we're constantly transitioning between these two.
Disappointed with you.
Go on, please.
Well, that's
Fix
fun.
it.
How do we stop it?
So if you click the X there, on mine it shows the preview on the other frames, the ones.
Oh yeah.
It shows the preview on top of the frame there, the preview button.
Yeah. No, but like we could just tell it not to do this ping pong in between. Maybe I could add another state. For now, I'll just select this frame and press play, and it will just play from this frame on. I shouldn't ping pong, you know. Oh Okay, I'll have to stop the ping ponging. I'll just remove the interaction. Easy.
Exactly.
So on Android 3, when it's after delay, moving backwards, minus that away. No, that back later. Easy. Easy lemon squeezy. So let's, right, let's see if this actual scrolling thing is working. There we go. We transitioned, and now, if I click on screen, you can see my button will take me back. My slider, as I slide it, things are going to change. To make that even more obvious, I can change the color here, fill. Red. As we're sliding, it's transitioning from one to the next. And now it's doing a little loading animation every time I get to the end.
Do you think we can get a Java raise?
Of course. I'm not kidding either. McDonald's is hiring Not joking. Hey, I got a testimonial from a student last week. They said right after doing my course, they get a job.
Which company would you like? Would you say?
It was Accenture.
Accenture, okay.
I think it was Accenture. But you got a job. Like, yeah. And they were using Figma. Yeah.
For Accenture.
I think it was Accenture. Yeah, I think Figma. Actually, might have been someone else.
Se quiser entrevistar vocês aí, não dá nome de pra ele faz. Geralmente no entrevista, eu fiz várias. Às vezes fazer algumas perguntas técnicas. É tipo, passo o trabalho pra fazer, tirar coisa. Eu fiz duas. As duas ou três eu fiz sozinho, as outras duas eu tive que pedir uma dica.
Airtricity.
I was thinking Accenture.
Not Accenture. SSE Airtricity, you're going to job UX. From me.
Eu fiquei com o estado, eu fui pelo Brasil. Eu tive que ir para
Airtricity.
não.
They're using Figma.
Yeah, I just, okay, mine is wrong.
You should be able to slide between the two states. When we stop, it'll basically just either go back to the start, or the end, depending closer it is to which state. And I accidentally made a little star machine. Okay, so that is the basics of Smart Animate. And for your task after the break, I'm going to be tasking you creating a little bit of Smart Animate game design. We'll take a look after we take a break. Cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever you need. Take a couple of